Hello! Today I continue to fulfill the request to review more full-size headphones, and probably one of the most famous players on this market is HiFiMan, company that probably resurrected the interest towards high-end headphones and actually resurrected the interest to the planar magnetic systems. Their models like HE6, HE5 and others were gave the second breath to the portable audio market. Some time ago I reviewed their ex-flagship model HE1000 version 2, but it was great, but $3,000 is a pretty noticeable price, and I've decided to take a look what they offer in more affordable segment, and actually I found out this model, it's Ananda, and kind of spoiler, I think it's the best offering in their lineup if we took price to quality ratio as a selection criteria. Well, probably now let's have a closer look. Box is relatively big, as you can see. It's almost not fitting on my table. It has simple polygraphy, interesting striped pattern, just outline of the headphones themselves, and more interesting, on the back side we'll have the basic technical specifications. So as you can see, frequency response from 8 Hz to 55 kHz, 25 ohms of impedance and 103 decibels of sensitivity. So as you can see, they are pretty efficient for the planar magnetic headphones, and speaking about that, it's a really good feature of this model. As usual, you can remove outer wrap, and inside you will have pretty nice box. Actually, package is really close to their flagship models. I think that's good. It opens this way. So actually this box will be used by all buyers as a storage. Inside you will have pretty comprehensive owner's guide, detailed with nice polygraphy, warranty card, headphones themselves, of course. Let me pull them out. And two cables. So you will have shorter one with 3.5mm jack and 6.3mm adapter, and also a longer one with a 6.3mm adapter. Of course, it would be better if they add balanced cable to the accessory set, but anyway, I think two cables is a great option. In terms of design, Ananda reminds all other HiFiMan models besides the most affordable ones. They're using similar shape, similar design approach, and I think it's a good idea. They don't try to make more affordable models look cheaper. And build quality is really nice. It's almost 100% metal, no cheap plastic, so everything is built really reliably, and at the same time they put a lot of attention to make the overall design as much lightweight as possible. So headband is made of springy steel. It's really thin, but it provides nice clamping force. It's properly adjusted, so it won't apply too much pressure to your sides of your head, and at the same time they are holding really nicely on the head. Pretty wide head pad, this leather strip providing proper weight distribution, and their overall weight is about 400 grams, and it's pretty lightweight for the planar headphones, so they are really comfortable in wearing and even for the long periods of time. You know, when some models weigh about 700 grams, it's really hard to carry them on the head. Here is size adjustment mechanism. It's really tight. It has well-defined clicks. It has this special hole, so you can adjust it equally on the both sides. Here is support forks. They are also reliable, made of metal. They providing just 1 degree of freedom. Unfortunately, 2nd degree of freedom rotating here would be nice, but even besides that, headphones fit is really comfortable thanks to this really nice soft leather ear pads. You can see how thin headphones themselves are. I think it's about 1 centimeter in thick, and they fit magnet system and driver diaphragm inside. So they're really nice in terms of fit and really soft here. So, and of course they are open. As you can see, they are totally open back. They are even transparent, so you can see what's inside of them from all parts. They are not created, of course, for street wearing or for some office environment, because they are leaking sound outside. It's totally open model, so it's predictable. And of course they are leaking noise inside, so it's a model created for the relaxed listening at sessions at home. But thanks to this open back design, your ears won't get overheating in them. Cable is made replaceable. They're using really standard connectors. They've changed connectors a few times, but now they've ended with regular I think it's 3.5 millimeter, 2.5 millimeters would be smaller. So here is left one, and here is right one. Nice sockets, nice connectors, so really reliable here. Cable is same that is used for the HE1000. It has aerial isolation, so it's cable go inside of thicker tube, so it's additional isolation, and creator says that it's improving sound. I didn't test cable swapping here, so I believe it's true. And here it goes way down below to the angle jack. You can use it with or without adapter. So cable actually is pretty nice. It's soft. Of course not super soft, but it behaves well. It has almost zero microphonics, so I really like this cable build. It's much better than typical cables in nylon sleeve. So to summarize this part, in terms of design, in terms of build quality, Ananda is a really good model. And of course about the sound. So these headphones require burn-in. I gave them about 140 hours of burn-in, and only after first 100 hours their sound settled. So just be patient, and this patient will be rewarded. And probably their most distinguishing feature is their sensitivity. I showed you technical specifications, and they can be driven via player, and actually they can be driven by player really nicely. So as you can see, as an example, I'm using HiBis R6 Pro, but actually they don't. It's not necessary to use balanced output. Even from the 3.5 millimeter out with high gain, for me it was enough at the 50 points of volume, so it was enough for me. I'm avoiding really loud listening, and 50 is really okay. So they don't require some crazy powerful sources. They don't require this $6,000 amplifiers just to sound properly. So even with players they are nice. Of course with desktop setup they will sound better, but usually not because of power, but because of control and resolution. And now I need to say something that HiFiMan won't be happy about, but actually I recommend this headphone. I probably could recommend these headphones more than HE1000 version 2. Mainly because HE1000 version 2, of course, they sounded more technical, more resolving, more natural, but natural technical resolving sound isn't everyone's cup of coffee. You know, more people will prefer a bit more fun and a bit more musical tuning of Ananda. I'm pretty sure here. Of course, if you're looking for some headphones with crazy resolution that goes really deep into the micro contrast that will show you all the tiniest details, of course HE1000 V2 will be better option. But if you want to have more musical and more enjoying representation, so Ananda is my recommendation. Of course, it's better to listen yourself, but anyway. Their tuning is pretty unusual, and frequency response is also a bit unusual. They have almost linear frequency response below 1 kHz with small roll-off below 200 Hz, but anyway, of course they're not lacking bass, and actually they're sounding a bit on the warmer side. Not warm because it's planar magnetic headphones and they are definitely resolving, they are definitely natural, but they're sounding a bit on the warmer side. Then after 1 kHz they've got slight dip with small accent on the vocal presence area, then bump at the, I don't remember exactly, but from 7 kHz or somewhere there. And then after 10 kHz they've got rolled off frequency response. So it's a bit unusual, but let's move step by step, and I will try to describe what this frequency response gives. So, first of all, bass. It's pretty enjoyable. Of course, it's fast. It's what you can expect from the planar magnetic headphones. It's fast. It's a bit faster than typical dynamic drivers, and it has good depth, and what is more important, it has a good punch, it has good weight, and it's slightly accented, more accented than in Sandaras, for example, or in HE1000 version 2, and this slight accent is what many people will like. It makes music more enjoyable. So I like it with electronic music, I like it with heavy metal, with jazz, with many other genres and styles. Speed is really great. Of course, texturing, you will have it, control, of course you will have it. You know, it's a great planar magnetic headphone, so everything that applies to the isodynamic models will apply to these headphones easily. So, as an example of the low frequencies, I prepared a bit unusual track. It's Ghost, and there I think you can take any single track from the album Meliora, but Tsiritz, sorry, I have no idea how it should be pronounced. Probably I should. I had to Google it before using this track as an example, but anyway. So, I'm a foreigner, so it's excusable for me, but still a pretty shameful scene. So, really good track. I like this guitar intro, and when in this album they used a big drum, and when this big drum starts beating, it sounds really great, and these headphones have enough of weight. You know, even with HE1000 V2 I lacked a bit weight, and these headphones give me what I was lacking to enjoy this track, and these beats are really punchy and really powerful with really good body. You can definitely close your eyes and imagine this big drum. And low frequencies are transitioning smoothly into mids. Mids are a bit rolled off, but not too much, because, you know, even having this slight drop on the frequency response, it's still planar magnetic model, and mids are crazy resolving. Well, probably not crazy, but really resolving, and because of that, mids doesn't sound like shadowed or moved backwards, so they are still really nice, dynamic, lively, with proper balance between weight and resolution, with good amount of micro and macro contrast, and so, you know, what you will give to these headphones, they will give you back. They are really emotional, and I also like it. You know, I'm always comparing them with HE1000 second version, but that's the model that I've got from HiFiMan before. It's my reference point for them. You know, HE1000 version 2, it's like, you know, some really high level classical musician with, you know, that spent like 50 years just practicing piano, and he's playing some complex tune without any issues, without any flows, so just perfectly. And Ananda is like, you know, keyboardist on the rock concert that probably not as technical, but it gives you emotions, it gives you passion, and it's another way to enjoy the music, and it's totally up to you what side you will choose. So, imaginary stage is spacious, pretty big. It's planar magnetic headphones with open back. You will just have what you expect. Pretty wide, noticeably wider than average, and a bit deeper than average. You know, they are a bit wider than deeper, but anyway, layering is also nice, so three-dimensional effects are represented really good. And I thought for quite a long time what track I can use to highlight the features of these headphones. I browsed my media library. I thought about Nightwish. You know, their song For Myself is really great masterpiece, combining heavy metal and orchestra and a lot of emotions. But then I found another track that I think will be a better demonstration. So it's Hiromi Uehara, Alive, and track is named Dreamer. I really like, and probably I even love Hiromi music. I like her style. And what also I like about her music, you know, it's a jazz, but it's recorded as a rock music. They have a totally rock style recorded drums, and this track is a great example, because you know drums here are like took from rock concert, and these headphones are perfect in both ways. They play this rock like drums, and at the same time they are really detailed and technical to portray all the piano part nicely too. And treble here is also balanced. They don't HiFiMan, I think, on purpose decided not to make the treble really extended really far. They made it rolled off after 10 kilohertz, and it's also done on purpose because it's they're tuned to, you know, not audiophilic records, not audiophilic listening, but for tracks that recorded not perfectly, and the tracks usually have some compression on the upper treble or some issues or and other stuff like that, and in this case slight rolled off in this area is nice. But of course it's not, you know, not rolled off, they are not rolled off as much to be absolutely quiet in this region. Of course they have extension in the higher upper frequencies, and because of that they providing perfect amount of overtones and sounding really nicely. Attacks and decays are a bit faster than they should be, but I think it's not an issue because it's typical for the planar magnetic headphones. They have good layering, because great layering is HE1000 feature. They have good layering, and of course they are really natural and really resolving on the treble area, and treble balancing lower frequencies perfectly. Thanks to this slight elevation in the vocal presence area, they sounding really balanced and really enjoyable. And as an example, you know, another pretty famous track, it's Rush, YYZ, these bells at the beginning and then that percussions all over you, they sounding really lively, really realistic, and also really enjoyable. You know, it's once again the case when technical performance combines with the emotions, and emotions is it's probably the most emotional model in the HiFiMan's lineup. And a few words about comparisons. You know, I got only two headphones in the same price range, and both of them are Mr. Speakers Aeon open and closed, and both of them are also either dynamic or planar magnetic. So it's not important which word I will use, but they share not similar design, but similar driver type, and actually both of Mr. Speaker's models have more natural sound signature, and they sounding a bit less engaging probably, or not not sure about the proper word, a bit less colored and a bit less adding emotion, so it's a strong part of Ananda. And the only other model that I can name, I already named it like hundreds of times, it's HE1000 version 2. They are more technical, more resolving, with bigger stage, with better micro contrast. So in terms of technical possibilities, it's definitely a better model. Of course, it costs 3 times more, so it's probably expected outcome. But you know, I've ended up listening these headphones more than HE1000 V2. Probably I'm not a true audiophile, so I prefer a bit more colored sound. It's sounding more engaging for me. And you know, I think HiFiMan also understands that with Ananda they created really enjoyable model for vast majority of people, because some time ago they've announced Bluetooth version of Ananda that I really wanted to review, but it still undergoes a final tuning, and I suppose to listen it in some future. Anyway, to summarize everything, HiFiMan's Ananda, it's planar magnetic headphones made for those who prefer not totally monitoring but a bit more emotional music. They providing good resolution and good technical capabilities. Well, sorry for the train again, I waited until he will pass, but he waited until I started recording this part. So it's headphones that have good resolution, very enjoyable emotional sound, and it's totally worth this price, and I definitely recommend it to you. Thank you for attention.